Please click on the subscribe button so you get notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, and who they should hire to be their head coach. Now, number 4, I'm going to give you 4 options. I'm going to give you 4 options who I think they should hire. And number 4 is one that Stephen A has been adamant about. Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, former, was basically the last head coach for the Golden State Warriors before Steve Kerr took it over. He was there with building that foundation with Steph, Clay, Draymond, Bogut, all those guys back in the day, Harrison Barnes, just all those guys. Just having that core, it was a defensive minded team, and it was a great time period for the developing Warriors. But he wasn't the head coach that was able to ultimately put everything together with the roster that he had to get them over the hump. That came along with Steve Kerr and the style of offense that they now play, and how they also play defense, and how Steve Kerr was able to transform the league and essentially make Steph into that guy that we all expected him to be. Since then, Mark Jackson has not been able to get back into the league as an assistant coach, as a coach at all. So with that being said, Stephen A has been very adamant the last few years that Mark Jackson should get a look. And with Tom Thibodeau, who I also love because he coached the Chicago Bulls, who I also support. They're my Eastern team. My overall team, Golden State Warriors. My Eastern Conference team is the Chicago Bulls. And Tibbs, I love Tibbs. Tibbs, wherever he's gone, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect. Tibbs, in my honest opinion, letting him go was the right move. His rotations are too small. He doesn't rely on the bench. And with all due respect, I know they say that the Knicks didn't have a bench, and that's why Tibbs was electing to go to his bench. But how are they going to say that he doesn't have a bench when throughout the entirety of the season he doesn't trust his bench, doesn't go to them at all? He plays his players basically 35 to 40 minutes a fucking night. And then when he needs to depend on somebody else, they don't have the confidence, or they haven't played and had that fluidity. So that's why I thought it was time for Tibbs to go, because the way that all these other teams in the playoffs have coached, they have a team. They have about 8 to maybe 9 guys that they can go to. The Knicks reluctantly go to a 7th man. They barely have they have a 6th man, and they'll reluctantly go to 7th, and they'll even at times reluctantly go to 6th. So because of those factors, I thought it was time for Tibbs to move on. I think Mark Jackson, if he were to come in to be the head coach of the Knicks, could upgrade, or not even upgrade, but maintain that defensive prowess that the Knicks have been known for, that grit grind, especially because Mark Jackson knows what it's like to be a New York Knick because he was a former New York Knick. And he maybe even help elevate that offense. We know he can deal with egos, and we know he can help develop a team, but does he really make them that contender that they need to be, that can get them over the hump? I honestly don't think so. The other candidate that I think that they should consider is the Memphis Grizzlies head coach, Taylor Jenkins, who, because of, in my honest opinion, because of the superstar that he had under his tutelage, I know it doesn't all fall on Taylor Jenkins to control the superstar of the team. The superstar of the team is going to do what the superstar wants to do. But Taylor Jenkins, with the roster that he had built around him, with Dylan fucking Brooks, Desmond Bain, John Morant, Jaren Jackson, that roster, he was able to get them to, I think, the Western Conference Finals against, I think, the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, or he was able to make them look like a viable title contender when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies. And in my honest opinion, I think he could help elevate the New York Knicks offensively, and even help them defensively. I know he'll give players an opportunity to play and develop and have an actual rotation. That's why I honestly think they should consider Taylor Jenkins. The second option that we're going up the list, right? Number 4 was Mark Jackson. Number 3 was Taylor Jenkins. Number 2 is the head coach that was recently let go, Mike Malone. NBA Finals championship head coach. I just think his time with the Denver Nuggets just ran out. He's a very high octane, high pressure person, similar to Tom Thibodeau, where he is about that grit, he is about that grind, but he trusts his bench, he trusts his players to come up clutch and to show up in the biggest of moments. That's why he was able to get that maximum effort from Christian Braun and all those guys when they made that finals run a few years ago. Now, I think he could do the same thing with the New York Knicks, who, in my opinion, are a younger version of the Denver Nuggets at this point in time, with Jalen Brunson, with Karl Anthony Townsend, Mikal Bridges, and all the other guys that they have on that roster. I think Mike Malone could be the missing head coach piece that can get them over the hump. Because in my honest opinion, the Denver Nuggets, they've just fallen short due to injury or running out of gas. But I don't think it's been a coaching mishap that's cost them the series. I think it's just age, injuries, and just running out of gas at that point. That's cost them this at the last couple of years in the playoff. And I've thought Mike Malone has made all the proper adjustments when he was coaching that team. Now, the number one option and the most, I guess, unorthodox, I guess you could switch Mike Malone for number one, but I think Adrian Griffin deserves a shot to be a head coach, a head coach in the league again. He did not get a fair shake with the Milwaukee Bucks, and yes, that's the Adrian Griffin I'm talking about. Adrian Griffin did not get a fair shake with the Milwaukee Bucks. He didn't, I guess, get along with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and things just escalated quickly. But in this time when he was the head coach, the Bucks were 31-13, second place in the Eastern Conference, and basically he was going to be coaching the All-Star game before they fired him in favor of Doc Rivers. And that team has never looked the same since. Here we are basically 2 years later, and that Milwaukee Bucks team has not elevated, has honestly been mediocre with Dame, without Dame. And now they don't have Dame for the next couple of years. So, in my honest opinion, Adrian Griffin deserves another shot to be a head coach in the league. And honestly, I could see him being a great fit in New York. I think he could manage the egos. That Milwaukee Bucks experience was a learning experience. I think if he gets another opportunity, and it is with the New York Knicks, he could manage Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Again, defense in New York, that grit and grind, that's always going to be there. And I think Adrian Griffin, at least the style of play that he had the Bucks playing at that point, because I think one of the biggest complaints at the time was Giannis did not want to work as hard as Adrian Griffin was making them work. And that with the New York Knicks, I think would fly because they just came off Tom Thibodeau. So Adrian Griffin in New York might be the missing piece, in my honest opinion, if they are looking for a new head coach. And those are my four options. You got Mark Jackson, Taylor Jenkins, Mike Malone, and Adrian Griffin, who I honestly think deserves another opportunity to be a head coach in the league.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.